Hey there, Steve here. Hope you're doing well. And welcome to live QA number 13. Getting through these. I plan to do these every Sunday from now on, if possible, which it pretty much is. So, how's things going? Let me know how you're doing. I'm pretty hungover myself. I drank a lot last night, and I was actually threw up this morning, so I wasn't feeling so good all day. But feeling a bit better now, so I thought I'd come on and still do the live stream for you. Got some coffee today instead of beer. Hopefully keep me going. So, how's your weekends been? Let's wait for some people to come in. Yosef's here. He's the 0th viewer. That's such an ordinal number as 0th. First viewer? I don't know. There's a few people here, so... And like always, when I do the live stream, I've got a discount code on my merchandise, and then that code is livestream, all one word. And if you go over to my Teespring store, and if you pick something up and you put that code in at the checkout, then that gets you 20% off. And obviously, I get a bit of money for each sale, which helps keep the channel going. So I appreciate that kind of thing. And I've got quite a few t-shirt designs now, and I'm picking up another one myself soon of the the American football house one I got. I want to get that with the pink t-shirt, so I'm going to order one of those soon. Ortegs is here. Hey, how's it going? And whilst I'm waiting for people to come in, today's topic I thought about was talking about how we can make our tapping more musical. And it's something I had to think about last week, and I've got a little insight into how one way we can do that today. So I'm going to go through that in a minute after we just said all these highs and stuff. So what we got here? Hello from Singapore. Hello to you as well. Yes, I do. I listen to Forest. I absolutely love Forest. One of my favorite bands to listen to. If you check out the latest video I put up with the Tokyo tour we just did, the video log of that, at the end of it, you'll see we tried to recreate Spending an Eternity in a Japanese convenience store cover with the band. So that was really good fun. Ortex says, what happened yesterday? Do you mean having a live stream? I did say I was going to do it Saturdays, but I thought sometimes I'm doing stuff Saturday night, so I won't be able to do it every Saturday. So I thought I'd change it to Sunday. And some other news, my crappy guitar hangers are messing up, and bear with me a second. My PV Telecaster's almost falling off the stand, off the hanger, sorry. So what I was going to talk about today, try and keep things simple for you. I've got this little thing up here in a key of C major, and I got 3 chords: an F major chord, a D minor chord, and a C major chord. We'll get to that soon, but first, I'll just give you an example of using a chord progression and using some more colourful kind of tapping. So, hey Rangs, Tonal Rangs, I guess it is. So, so I had this chord progression, a D. And that would go to some A kind of major chord, and end on a B minor 11. And I thought, how could I write some little nuanced kind of tapping riff with that, and see how that kind of sounds, if it was a good idea I had. So basically, I was using the from the chord the 3rd and the 7th notes. I was using these notes to base my riff idea around, and this is how it sounds when I found all the notes and stuff relevant to the chord. So that was for the first chord, and then the last chord. So you can see, probably hear how those notes complement each chord, right? last one. And that'll resolve it nicely with that note there. And yeah, like I said, basically, sorry, I just turned the guitar down, it's probably buzzing for you. Yeah, we're hopefully going to be doing Sundays from now on. So yeah, so that idea I came up with looking at using the 3rd and 7th notes, because these are basically the notes that will define any chord. So if you're playing in the band situation, let's say, and you had a keyboard player or a bass player or someone, or another guitarist who's like playing the chords, you don't necessarily have to play the chords, and you could write a tapping part over the top by just looking at these 3rd and 7th notes of the chord that the other person's playing, or whatever the chord progression is, the harmony basically, and you'll be able to complement it quite nicely. That's the idea anyway. So I'm going to try and do that now. I just come up with this using this different chord progression, which looks like this. I'll put them in on Jam Play for you here. This is a great chord finding website, by the way. So the first chord we have is an F major 7. And then we're going to be going to a D minor 9, which looks like this. F major 7, D minor 9, and then we're going to end on a C major 9, my favorite chord. So we've got this progression, and if we go back over to here, so basically this song is in the key of C major, how I see it. 3 chords, so F major, D minor, C major. So we've got a 4, 2 chord and 1 chord, so 4, 2, 1 progression. So that sounds nice, quite nice chord progression. So now if we were to look at embellishing this with some tapping ideas, so here I've put the keynotes for F major chord, for an keynotes for I should have probably an F major chord like that there. And so if we're looking at F here, so if we count the 3rd, so 1, 2, 3, that's going to be an A note, and then the 5th is going to be a C, and then the 7th note is going to be an E. Don't worry too much about if you don't know music theory, just try and follow along. So basically I'm just using notes from a particular chord, so the 3rd degree and the 7th degree of an F major chord in this case. Because these 2 notes, the F root here, and it's going to be the E. Basically those 2 are making up the flavour of that chord, that F major chord. And the same goes for the D minor chord here. Sorry, I played the wrong notes there, the 3rd. Those 2 notes there for the F major one, the last 2, and then the D minor 9 chord. So we want the 3rd and the 7th. So it's going to be the F on that one. We've got D minor 9 chords. Sorry. Where are we? Losing my mind here. The F, obviously the 3rd. Sorry, and the C is going to be the 7th there. Those 2 notes there, so and then going to the C. Yeah. And so if we try and use these kind of things for our tapping, so finding those 3rd and 7th notes, and I've put the 5th in here as well because it's quite a nice note to use, and then as you tap through the piece, try and bring it back to the 1st note of that chord to resolve it quite nicely. So I'm going to try this. I've not actually done this before with this chord progression, so you're going to watch me struggle through it and get an idea of what you could be doing, I guess. So we start with this F major chord here. It's good to bar it with this finger. It will hurt a little bit at first, but if you want to play it like that, it's no problem. So you want to find these notes, right? So F, so we've got A here. Don't forget pull-offs are your best friend here. There's the A, and then next we had the C, right? So C, A, C, and then the E, right? Last one would be E. You can do that here. Or if you want, all the way down there. But it's probably best to play it there. So basically, find these notes. You can use a fretboard guide to help you, but if you're already familiar with where notes are on the fretboard, this is going to be obviously very helpful for that. Hey, PP Extender 666, how you doing? Good to see you again. Yeah, so back to it. So we got our C, sorry, A, C. You can hear how they're quite strong notes that complement that chord, right? And then basically we're going to add in these extra notes around these notes to, colour the tapping, is what I shown you in the example before that. That's what I did basically. And you could look at it playing it in 3 different places. And you have to use your ear a bit to find where the notes are. And I recommend keeping this root note ringing and then play your tapping part over the top of it. But if you're playing in a band that's got a bass player or another guitarist, playing this root, then that's not really that necessary, of course. We'll come down to C. So I'd mess around like that for a while, hearing where the notes are. You do the same as you change chords as well. So when we go to this D minor 9 chord, now we're looking for F and C really, and A is a good colouring note as well. So playing the D. So here we'll find where F is. So that's the third, the F. And then next we've got A, right? And then the last one we got the 7th, which is C. So there's a good note to anchor your riff around again, basically. Or text is like Yovet, you mean like playing like that? Good username, yeah, for sure, for PP Extenders. Yeah, I guess she'll probably hear this in her head. I kind of test her knowing how she writes those kind of tapping riffs. So, but perhaps something like that. Like that kind of note. Adds tension, right? That right doesn't really sound that nice, right? So yeah, I'd find those notes again for there. Sorry if this is getting boring, but and then we'll get to the last chord, the C major 9. C major chord, the C major 9 in this case. This time looking for the E and the B notes, right? So here's the E. Sounds nice, right? And then a B over here. And then E, B. And then we could add that G in. Sorry. come back to the let's see. Try and end on that C to make the tapping piece sounds yeah, does this sound okay? It says sounds quite am I peaking or something with the maybe the input with the volume? Come down a bit. Is the guitar sound alright in the volumes? I always have to check this every time I do it. I'm sorry. Tech says it sounds normal. I hope so. Alright. Yeah, so basically, to summarize what I was going on about there, find a chord sequence that you like, and then dive into what notes are in that particular chord, and then try and find what the third and the seventh note are. So if you know, even if you're playing like a straight C major chord, you know, you can still use the third and the seventh of that, and yeah, and then basically anchor your tapping thing that you're creating around those notes, if that makes sense to you, and see what you can come up with. That's obviously one way of doing things. There's many other ways you can do tapping, but I'm just trying to, because I get asked quite often, how can I make tapping sound more musical? And it's really what I see it as is having the harmony, and then having something that complements that harmony, but doesn't just match that harmony, if you get me. So like if someone's already playing the root note, there's not really much reason for you to be tapping the root note so much in your tapping thing. Anchor it around that third and that seventh, and then, you know, add some different flavor in there by adding you know, different notes that are in that scale, basically. So if you're playing you know, if we go back to that C major chord, you know, if you're playing you know, if you were playing like a C here, and if you just went through the notes of a C major scale, yeah, some notes sound better than others there, don't they? You know, that doesn't sound good, though. That F. So if you were going to include that note, then you would include it as one of those notes you'd pass over it, basically. So I think that concludes the demonstration on that kind of thing. Just to go reiterate the part that I did write that sounded a bit more musical, I'll play that one again for you. So this was using that third and seventh idea, and then colouring with other notes from each scale. So D major 9. Something like that. Yeah, so that would be basically what I was going on about there. I can see your questions. Hamdani, I'm going to say your last name because I can't do your first name, sorry. Is there any, he asks, is there any pedals or anything to make my tapping sound louder? I'll take it as there's a few things, especially if you want to play tapping in clean. So compression obviously helps with that. I'm using compression right now. You can hear it. It's quite squashed, and so that helps level out your dynamics, bringing up, bringing your tapping. And then actually on the middle pickup selector, if you were to put it to the neck, actually get more dynamics from your tapping in clean. Obviously, you get more dynamics, you get more volume. If you play with a bit of an overdrive and you're really pushing the signal, that's going to help, make your tapping sound more defined. But if you're playing in clean, I really recommend using a compressor. I just did a video recently actually on compression. I wrote the overdrive sound for your clean tone, basically, and that's what how Dan phrased it from that pedal show, if you've heard that before. So go and check out that video if you haven't already. And I'm using the Boss CP1X compressor. It's a fantastic compressor. Adds a bit of high end onto the signal. But like, this is just regular compression. You can, if I dial it up, you can really squash, as you can hear there, right? Yeah, you can really squash the signal, compress it, so it doesn't really sound that good. It definitely really helps with clean sound and tapping. So I hope that helps you somehow. And obviously, you're going to remember every compression pedal is going to react differently to all kinds of different setups. So you got to keep that kind of thing in mind as well. So, all right. Fire away the questions. Doesn't have to be about tapping. It can be about anything math rock related. I just wanted to say before I started, I was listening to this, the new Delta Sleep record, the EP that just landed without anybody really knowing about it, and it's really good so far. I've listened to it once and just going through it again just before the stream started, and absolutely fantastic. The first song is so amazing. I like the fact that it's not as produced as the Ghost Cities album. It's got like a bit of more of a that live kind of band feel to it, so it's really fun to watch. All right, so oops, not that one, that's the wrong one. Window capture, there we go. I'll disappear for a second there coming up, so don't freak out. All right, so just people saying compression pedals, basically. You can basically just, whack an amp up really high. And even like a clean amp, that's what I talk about in that compression video. If you turn an amp up really loud, and it's going to naturally compress anyway, you wouldn't even need a compressor pedal at that point. And everything you play sounds really solid and really strong anyway. So a compression pedal is really good for getting that really overdriven, that really cranked amp sound, but a much cleaner and much lower volumes, which is, obviously really good for if you're playing at home. If you put a compression pedal into like a small practice kind of amp and put it on, even at a lower volume, it's going to sound, you'll soon hear that you're picking and everything sounds sharper and more, they've got more dynamics basically to it. So Tex asked the favorite song of the EP. I've only listened to it once. That's all I had a chance to, and I was warming up at the time, but I say In the Air so far. But that's the one that stuck out straight away, the first track on the record. So I was gonna say as well, I put in some tapping tips in the last live stream I did, but I'll go over them again quickly now, because it's always useful to know, because two-handed tapping, you got to approach both hands differently. With your fretting hand, usually your fingers are already stronger because that's, they're doing the work all the time on the fretboard anyway. So I was doing this tapping exercise, which is from Marcus Mina, and he has a tapping book, a compositional tapping book. That's quite useful, but I wouldn't say it's that great for beginners because it's quite in-depth. Well, it's really good for like technique pointers, and there's some good exercises, but it does get very technical later on in the book. What's the name of it now? Anyway, I'll try and find his tapping book now, and I'll share it with you because it's super useful. I did a review on it on my channel as well. There you go. That's the Spanish version of it. We'll try and find the English one for you. There we go. So I'll share that again for you where I window capture. Yes, so this is the book I'm on about. So check that one out. You can see inside a few pages, but starts off, this is the exercise I'm going to show you now actually. Quite simple chromatic exercise for both hands. Anyway, so there we go. Take that off there. Jump back to YouTube. See you all doing. Yeah, so starting from the 5th fret with your fretting hand, and I just want you to walk up chromatically like this. You can do that first. It's quite hard to do in clean as well, I just realized. You can mess up different finger shapes like that, but that's for later. And tip is, use your index finger here as a mute, so it's always deadening the string, so minimizing any unwanted ring basically. So you see that sounds quite, there's not a lot of ringing going on between the notes, but if you were just to do, you can hear there's a lot of that low E ringing underneath, right, when you hit the next fret. So you can practice using this finger as a mute, and then when you get to the 8th fret here on your little finger, then bring in your strumming hand, and you're going to start from the 9th and just walk up chromatically again. So 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I do this for every string. And yeah, and when it comes to the strumming hands, some pointers for this one. Positioning is very important, so don't have it at a 90 degree angle to the fretboard. So you'll be putting a lot of strain here on your wrist, and it doesn't feel comfortable at all. If you try and tap like that, instead bring it round so it's the same angle as the fretboard, with it in line with it, and use your thumb if you want to, and hook it underneath, and then just play like that instead. And you find that's much more comfortable. And last pointer is one of my own, is if little fingers not as going to be as strong as your index and your middle finger. So what I like to do when I tap with that one, I put the my ring finger, I think that's what you call it, right, on top of it like that. So it gives a bit, because without it, but with it, it's much more even, right, in response. This is a good exercise to build up finger strength and dexterity, and it's also, once you're quite, you're quite fluent at doing that, then you can just use this as an actual warm-up exercise every time. If you're going to be doing some finger tapping. You can do it as, that one's much harder, especially getting that last note. So I'm really out of practice on that. I need to warm up on get up my game of tapping for sure. But it's really good fun technique. So that's some pointers there on two-handed tapping technique. And I have got a few videos on my page already if you haven't checked them out, various tapping videos. And I do have a playlist of them as well, so you can also check out that one. So, all right, what's everyone talking about? Yeah, what's that? Flight asked any tips on getting both hands coordinated. Yeah, so that exercise I just shown you there will help. And you can do things like coordination. So just take like an octave like that, on the 8th fret. Just do things like that. And playing at the same time is quite difficult to do. You know, if you're tapping something like that's good for coordination exercises. But that tapping book I just showed you by Marcus Mina has that has like a whole segment about duality, tapping at the same time with both hands. And there's a really good exercise in there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's really worth checking out. It's Mary Had a Little Lamb, but doing it in rounds and canons. So this hand starts the melody, and then the next bar, your strumming hand starts the melody. So it's all out of one bar ahead on the on your fretting hand here, and then this one's one bar behind. So it's definitely like a mind exercise, and as well as a coordination one, that's for sure. So Poltergeist, hi, thanks. One Medu asks, can I play jazz? I play a little bit. I've been learning a book on jazz recently, but something like 2-5-1s. It's definitely a fun genre to learn, but it's very challenging as well. But there's a guitar book. I'll try and get it up quickly. I'm going through it at the moment and really, really recommend it. Right, my list. Where's my books? There we go. All right, I'll just share my screen with you quickly. I really recommend checking out this book. I'm working my way through it at the moment. It's Guitar Chords in Context, a practical guide to chord theory and application. So it starts at the very beginning of basic chord theory and shows you how chords work together, but it's very jazz influenced. You'll find the chord progressions, but super, super useful. And it's almost just under $10, and you can read it on your phone and stuff like that if you just get the Kindle app and that, and just you can just do a couple of pages every time you pick up your guitar, and maybe just work your way through the book slowly like that. That's what I've been doing, and I've been learning a hell of a lot from that as well. And then there's a second book which I hope to get once I finish that one. So really recommend that book. Super useful if you're new to like chords and looking at how chords work together, or if you're looking to play jazz, then that's definitely the book for you. So Garrett Ormsby says, sorry a little late, but why the ring on top of the pinky? Why not just use the ring finger? You could, but I can do it. I think when you get up to speed on some kind of tapping stuff, then probably better to have the ring in that case, especially if you want to like tap certain shapes, like something like that, and then have two fingers free. But it's always good to not skip over fingers anyway, and just develop your strength and your dexterity and everything for those fingers, especially if you want to do like finger picking with your little finger, especially when it comes to hybrid picking, because if you're using hybrid picking, then you got these three fingers free to do the rest of the work. So I find it's good to develop it for other applications as well. So, all right. BMX guy says, "Hi Steve, long time fan. Any tips on getting that crispy cuvette tone?" I think with what she does is a very clean tone. She's using a compressor. Actually, if you go to Premier Guitar, I think it is, they did a rig rundown with her recently, and she goes through all the steps that she takes to get her sound with, pedal board, and she uses like a Vox AC30 style amp on I think it's on the top boost mode as well. But just, I guess, a lot of volume in that case, and using some compression she does. But like I said, when you really gun an amp on clean, you get that natural compression anyway, that slight breakup. So that's, you get that, you can retain a really clean chimed tone, but you can also like tap and things sound a lot more stronger and coming through quite nicely that way. So I think that's, how she would achieve that one. But yeah, check out that rig rundown if you want to do that at lower volume. So what I was talking about earlier is, most people have mentioned as well in this chat, is getting yourself a compression pedal, because that will give you that feel and that response, from a really cranked amplifier, but at much lower volumes basically. Good question. Fuait, I guess that's how you say your name, sorry. He says, by the way, do you recommend using those wraps, like around the nut to avoid any noise? I have got one, and I was using one for the longest time. It can help, but it's only really when you're adding a lot of noise to the signal. So if you're playing with, a lot of gain, and, things get amplified, right? So all of these open string and these unwanted harmonics. So in that case, it can really help. But the way I play and the amount of gain and stuff I use, I find it really it's not really that necessary. So I took it off the guitar. But if you are using a lot of gain, I'd recommend checking one of those out. It's very useful when you're trying to really minimize noise, because playing live, you're not really going to hear that, because you've got so much more, so much of the band going on as well. You're not going to be able to chime into those really, really tiny sounds. But if you're playing on your own, or if you're if you're recording as well, especially like a live, in a session, then that kind of thing's going to help. I know bands that put they put masking tape on like the top strings if they're just recording a lead line that's down here to stop those strings ringing, if you get me. So it's definitely useful for those kind of things. Yeah, there's Zeropa Baby says the Uvix tone is relatively treble, sounding pickups into the Vox, right? Well, the thing is, the Vox amplifier is very mid-range focused, and it does tend to, especially if you're using the top boost channel. Actually, I've got the that big rectangular pedal, the Vox over the top boost. That's actually the circuitry taken from an AC30, the top boost channel, and like when you put that one on, I'll give you an example. So that's my clean tone. So if I bring in the over the top boost, and I've got the treble on 0, by the way. So if I was just to put it on regular settings with this pedal, so listen how much. Adds a lot of brightness in, right? So especially with single coils as well. So her sound is quite bright, quite chimey, but it sits nicely on top of the mix, right? The bass, the bass tone he has is it's dominating a lot of that low end, right? So that sits really nicely on the high end, and the whole mix sounds really, really nice in my opinion. So right. Zeropa Baby says, I never really care about tones and timbre so much, so I don't know a lot. But it's something you develop over time. Like my guitar teacher, teachers in the past have said, like, worry about being able to play your instrument first and getting competent at that before you worry too much about your tone. But you'll find as the years go by, as you're playing guitar and you're experimenting with things, you'll start to find like what you like and what sounds that you like, right? So you tend to lean towards getting, that style of pedal or that style of amplifier or that style of guitar. So these things come along as, as you go on your musical journey, I should say. So Um, all it takes is lol to. Hi, how to make more tapping more musical. Sorry, you missed it, Vladimir. You have to go. You have to watch the re-upload. It's the first like 25 minutes of this video, I'd say. But in a nutshell, sum it up. Have a chord shape. Find out what the third and the seventh notes are of that chord shape, and then base your licks around those, and then try and end your lick on the first. So, right, what have we got next? Right, so Rana, he asks, he says, "Hey Steve, love your content. Thank you very much. I learn more from your YouTube than guitar teacher." It's nice when people say that kind of thing. I'm not a qualified teacher by any sense. I have got musical education, well, and a background in musical education. I did graduate from university doing popular music, but I definitely don't have any credentials as being a guitar teacher. But thanks for that. So he says, any plans to ever do a EU tour? You mean with my band Mountains? It would be nice to do one. And I don't think we're big enough and can't really afford to do that at the moment. But hopefully in the future that'll be on the cards. Like I said, really want to play the States as well. Do like a basement tour. That would be really good fun. WM Music, hey, how's it going? Thank you very much. WM Music says, do you ever consider doing a book like the Beato book? So if you're not familiar with Rick Beato's channel, which I'm sure a lot of you are because he's got like 1 million subscribers, but he has his own book. And I did mention the last live stream I'm doing. I have got a document in the works. I'll just find that for you quickly now. G Drive, that's the one. And I'm basically putting together a math rock orientated practice book, or a guidebook to help you learn math rock kind of guitar. So I'll just get this up for you. Share my screen again, the window capture. Is that one? There we go. That fits in very nicely as well on the screen there. So this is really rough at the moment. It's nowhere near finished, but I'm going to have a section here on techniques often attributed to math rock. So I start with tapping. I give pointers and technique and like videos of examples of stuff and some exercises to get you started, and then examples of riffs you can learn. I'm going to go into more detail back here, and I move to like finger style, so some tips on finger style and some exercises to develop dexterity to get you started on finger tapping, hybrid picking, general technique, alternative tuning. So I got a whole section on tunings that are often used in math rock and emo and stuff like that. Pointers for using different string gauges and how to write in different tunings. And then I got section 2. So this one is what I'm currently writing, is practical music theory and what you can learn to help with your songwriting, basically. So understanding basic music theory and applying it to your playing. And then I start at the beginning about major and minor and how keys work and how basic chords work, and then I talk about the theory of that. Now this is all messed up. It hasn't exported correctly here. Then I talk about extended chords, how extended chords work. Then I got the different chord voicings here to help you. Then I have a few chord exercises to go through each one, basically. Then I talk about more extended chords, more examples. And I got other chord variations useful for math rock, so suspended chords and how they work. And then I have other chords, so going into major and minor 6 and 6/9 chords as well. So that one always gets a giggle, 69 chord. But how they work and how you can apply them to your songwriting. And then I got notes on all other stuff I want to do. But right, just stop capturing that one for now. But you'll be glad to know, that when I finish it, it's probably going to be another month or so, because there's a lot to go through on that. So I hope you're excited to have that one, and I really hope that's going to help a lot of people as well. So it's not complete yet, W Music. It's still got a while to go on it till I'm satisfied with it, and I'm going to put it into a volume. But I think it's going to be about 50 pages by the time it's done, and I'll put that on over on my Patreon page. But if people don't want to do it for a Patreon, then perhaps I'll do like on a e-store on my website or something like that, so you can go there and pick it up. And I won't be charging much for it, something like $5 or something like that. So so we can all benefit from it basically without having to pay too much. Oh yeah. Adam Neely already made a 69 chord joke in his last QA. Yeah, I watched his video on 6/9 chords recently, so yeah, he did a few jokes on that one as well. So, BMX guy says, "Were you born in South Korea? If not, how did you end up there?" I've explained a few times, so sorry if this is boring for everyone. I moved here in 2012, so I've been here for 7 years now. I married to a Korean national, my wife, and we met in England, so we were together there for 4 years. And then I decided to come over here and try it out for a bit. I teach ESL, so English as a second language. Well, EFL really, English as a foreign language. And I've been doing that the whole time since I've been here. It's been good fun. And then doing this YouTube. So I do full-time work for that, and then I do my YouTube stuff at home. For you guys. So this is the thing that I want to do, actually. Hopefully I can make this into a full-time job sometime. So let's see. Yeah, $5 is great. I think that one won't be too expensive. It's not gonna dent anyone's wallet, right? And you can really benefit from it. So, and I'll have that probably on Patreon, like a $5 monthly thing, if you want to support me, and I'll add updates to it and stuff as I go along. So, because I feel like it'd be complete, but as I come back to it, then I'll add more information as it goes along. So, yeah, it's been fun writing that book, but at the same time trying to think of ideas and stuff that's practical for everyone and making it accessible to anyone. So that's why how I've voiced it is like, when it comes to theory, I start at the very beginning. So I'll put like little pointers in there. If you already know all this kind of thing, then perhaps skip to this page. That would probably be more beneficial for you. And I'm going to add more information definitely to the technique sections, I should say, and add a bit more exercises and stuff in there to help people along the way. Rana says, why does no one know about math rock? Why does no one know about math rock? I was trying to introduce it to my friends, but they're clueless about it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Because I'm in the circle, quite often I'll introduce math rock, and I'm quite surprised. If it's music people, they've usually heard of it. If I'm at a gig and I play with a band that is not playing anything similar, I'll bring it up, and they'll mention a few band names, so they've heard of it. But the everyday person probably not so much, and have fun trying to show them a math rock band as well, because they'll just be like, what is this? It sounds normal to you, right? But then you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And then you suddenly realize when you're listening to it with someone else that, okay, this is not what I remember. It suddenly sounds, you kind of feel how they're hearing it, right? So if you get those kind of things. WM Music says, I think many people like me, it's more hard to see your videos because, it's in English. Yeah, I've got quite actually a Southern American audience, I noticed, on my channel. So a few people did do subtitles for a few videos in Spanish. So, yeah. WM Music says, math is the new jazz. Yeah, for sure. There's those who want to learn it, but not as many people want to listen to it, right? That's good fun. A lot of it derives from jazz, that's for sure, if you look at the chords and stuff. The licks probably not so much, but yeah. Yeah, the Zeropa Baby, brings up a good thing. It says the categorization of math rock is confusing. And I completely agree it is, because if you say like, go one end of the spectrum of like, if you say like a band like Don Cab is an example of math rock, but then also like something like TTNG or American Football, someone like that is math rock, and they have similarities, right? But they are very vastly different. Like a lot of people perhaps would like one of those bands, but not the other so much. And I always look at it as, there's obviously different branches of it, but also like historically as well. Like the earlier stuff of math rock tends to be more distorted guitar tones, and it's more asymmetrical in like the way things are written, and it's not really as melodic as more modern math rock, let's say. There's not really sticking in a particular key signature, and lots of notes from out of a key are used, and lots of different key changes that are used. I'm not sure if that's done on purpose, of course, and everything is what's the word I'm looking for? I'm terrible with explaining things. Sorry, that's what I'm like. But what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for it now. What's the one? That's it. Yeah, counterpoint. I always forget that word. So counterpoint. So I googled that one. So it's relationship between voices in a score. So like drums and guitar and bass and all that. So they're harmonically interdependent. So they're polyphony. So they're dependent on each other in what's going on musically, but they're independent of each other in rhythm most of the time. And that's a really solid difference in math rock compared to other genres, I'd say. Is like everyone's kind of playing their own thing in a way, but they are kind of interlinked. But they're definitely interlinked when it comes to the harmony that's going on a lot of the time. So that you got that kind of thing. Odd time signatures, yeah, that's another thing. Angular melodies, of course, that's what I was explaining about earlier. Math rock is definitely more angular compared to more modern math rock. It's definitely more melodic, right? And extended chords and older bands were definitely more dissonant in nature, the chords that we're using, and now it's more like in the stuff that I like to use, more definitely more melodic kind of stuff. So and you can see that if you take a quick overview of the history of math rock. You'll see the earlier bands compared to what's going on modern. And myself, even though I really, really like the more dissonant stuff, I'm really huge fan of Don Caballero and like Terra Melos and stuff, but I also really appreciate more melodic math rock bands as well. Like you think about like really like American Football, This Town Needs Guns, and these days really huge fan of Delta Sleep and another band called Gulfer, if you've heard of those. But it's not as erratic as kind of older math rock, but it does have all those elements in there, right? So I think it's incredibly hard to categorize, I should say. But it's good fun, good music, right? That's what we all like. There's no point arguing over what is math rock and what isn't, right? It's just enjoy what you like, right? Enjoy the music. So Ortex says, I really struggle to learn the notes on the fretboard. Any tips? Yeah, I can give you one straight away. So if you look at the fret, each string like this. So if you start from the low E here, if you learn the note names on each string, so like E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, back to an E, so an octave. And then if you look at it like this way, so over the D string here, they're all octaves of each other, so meaning the same note but higher. So like that's an F and that's an F there. That's an F sharp, that's an F sharp there. G, G sharp, G sharp, G, A sharp, I'm not even listening to what I'm saying, am I? Let's try that again. So F, F sharp, G, G, G sharp, G, A, so G sharp, A sharp, A, B, C, C sharp, D. So that way, if you're trying to find a note on this D string, then you just refer back to the low E string here and think of it as an octaves. And you'll find the strings much quicker that way. And then the great thing is the same can be done for the A string. So you got A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F sharp, G, G sharp, and back to A again. It's the same thing repeated after there. But then again, you can say this is C, the octave. So you can easily find the same note again on the G string here when you relate it back to the A string here. So I know that's a C, that's going to be a C. I know this is a C sharp, that's going to be a C sharp. This is a D, that's going to be a D, like that. And that's how I think of the fretboard. It gets different when you get to the B string, because that's one's actually doesn't work the same way with the octave shape. So for example, here's D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, like that, going up again. But this time, instead of 3 frets apart, 1, 2, 3, it's going to be 4 instead. So in this case, here is G, here is G on the B string, so an octave apart. So instead of like that shape, so here's G and G, sorry, we do F there, yeah. So there's F there. It's the same again, but starting from the D string instead. So instead of, you see that's 1, 2, 3, it's going to be 4 instead. And that's how you can quickly find out where an F is on the B string. An F sharp, same thing again. G, same thing again. And then when you get to the G string, another joke there, I guess. So it's G and G sharp, A sharp, B, like this. Same thing again. So instead of 3 fret difference, it's 4 again. So there's an A, there's an A, and then A sharp, there's a B, there's a B. Now just think of the fretboard like that. So if someone says, "Oh, I want you to play a C," let's say on the B string, on the G string here. Now I know where it is, but back in the past I would do that first. So I know the C's there on the A string, so then the C is going to be there, on the G basically. And then the same if someone says, "I want you to play the G on the D string," so I'd find the G here on the E string, and I know the octave is here, so there's the G. And I would work out the fretboard like that. I don't do that anymore because I've got it quite memorized in my head, but that's a super useful technique to use. So I think probably some of you do that already, because that's one way you get recommended by most guitarists, I'd say, guitar teachers and such. So WM User says polyrhythm is very hard to understand too. Are there any videos? I haven't got any videos about polyrhythms. There's already really good videos out there, so I feel like I shouldn't really try and do one myself. If you check out like Adam Neely has a really good one about he does 7/11 polyrhythm. But a way to work out a polyrhythm, so let's say you wanted to do you had 4/4, but you wanted to play 3 over the 4, so you'd write out a typical pen stops working, right? I'll try and write this out, but it's probably going to be backwards, but you'll get the idea. So you'd write out 1, 2, 3, 4 to represent the main beats in 4/4, and you would circle every one is going to be the pulse, for 4/4, right? But then 3/4 starts on the same one, and then you count 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Whoops, already messed that one up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 1, 2, 3, until it comes back, matches again with the main beat. Sorry, this is gonna. I'll see if I can get this up for you quickly. It's probably gonna be backwards. Oh no, it's not backwards. Nice. So basically, I've written out 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So this is 4 beats in 4/4, and then the circles are where the 3/4 strong beats are. So obviously they start at the same time on the click. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the strong pulse for 4/4 is going to be on the 1, right? But the 3/4 is going to start on the every third beat, every third beat the first. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, and then the back they match up again here. So when you play that, I did an Instagram video about this recently if you want to hear how that sounds. But this guitar be like, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, that that main hit there. Whereas the other guitar, not guitar, sorry, the other whatever instrument, whatever the pulse would be, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So then you get this polyrhythm of where the main accents are basically on that one. And you can Google that really easily. A 3/4 is a very common polyrhythm to use, and they have this da 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 da, like this kind of feel to them. And I forget what that's called, but that if you watch the Adam Neely video about 7/11 polyrhythm, that one he does explain, how what the fingers you're looking for, what that kind of feel of a polyrhythm is. You see, I'm not so good at them myself because I'm playing just guitar by myself a lot of the time, so it's hard to do polyrhythms on your own. But you can do it, of course, and it's something actually I've been branching into recently because they are good fun. And I'm going to order a MIDI keyboard soon, and I'm going to try and write some drums and stuff using that, and some synth parts as well. And I'm thinking of trying out some polyrhythm stuff there. So yeah, hopefully that answers something for you there. So hope that helped you out. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's go back up. Yeah, WM Music says he finds the modern, I guess, math is more complicated than the early years. Yeah, okay. All right, where are we? Garrett Ormsby asks, what are some bands you get inspiration from that don't necessarily get tagged with math rock genres? For me, I'm heavily influenced, like as you probably noticed and I've said about before, it's from the emo music, Midwest emo, if you want to give it a term. But that's influenced math rock, of course, heavily. If you look at like contemporary math rock, when you look at bands like American Football and TTNG, they have that kind of emo vibe to it, but they've added the mathy kind of elements to it. But I always say, like, for me, it was always bands like I was listening to a lot of pop punk and just general rock when I was in my teens, and it was bands like Braid and the Get Up Kids, to name two, that were big influences on me. And that's where I got like the way that how I'd put chords together. I was always a sucker for like a really short chord progression like that had lots of feeling to it. Instead of just being like that chord progression I just played there, instead of just being like if you're playing as power chords, a D, a B, and an A, I'd like to embellish it, with these little make things a bit more interesting like that. It was definitely those kind of bands, and lyrically and the way that I would sing and write music is super influenced by that. And a lot of stuff that I learned at college as well, because you're doing a lot of like popular music, so it was looking at not chart music, but like very like famous kind of rock pop kind of songs, and a lot of jazz as well, like improvisation and stuff. So that kind of stuff worked its way in, but it definitely it's got to be that kind of emo music is definitely the biggest influence there. And then I got into math rock, like I said, through bands like, I started listening to like post-hardcore bands, at the Drive-In and the Fall of Troy, and it's like Bear vs. Shark, this kind of stuff. That's what got me led me into like math rock bands. At the time, it was like, if you know Blackfish, who Blackfish are, and I got this when they did their Soon Another City tour. Really recommend that one. Super good little EP there, and that's back from like 2008. And bands like Colour, and there's another band called Shapes from Birmingham as well, where I was living. They're really good as well, quite similar to Blackfish, but very much more on the mafia side of things. So yeah, that band, really recommend checking them out. And there's This Town Needs Guns, and I was in Britain, in England, so, and This Town Needs Guns, and I forget now, what's that? Escaping my memory. Such a good band. Tube Lord, that's the one. Jeez. I've not got a good memory, and like I said, I'm quite hungover, so that's not helping. So, Text says, got it, thank you, awesome. I hope that helped you out with the learning weather notes on the fretboard a bit better. Is Lucas Adams asking, is finger picking essential to tapping? Not at all, but I just find it, adds a bit of flair. I just really like it because I like a lot of TTNG stuff, and Tim's playing with his fingers all the time. Same with Yovit Young. Definitely like a timbre preference. It's much softer, right? And you can also play like quite intricate stuff a bit more easier than playing with a pick, because your fingers are already in position to pluck each string instead of having to jump across with your pick. But I like the compromise between the two. Just hybrid picking. That's the Chan use all the time, hybrid picking, because if the difference is like if you were like you could do that, it's very strummed and progressive, or like that, just every string is plucked equally at the same time. So that's what advantages like having hybrid picking would do for you. It doesn't take too long to learn as well, and just building up your strength. Just try out different exercises, and you can just hold a chord shape, and like I just did then, and it's the difference. Like it's also about control of like how long you let strings ring for with your fretting hand as well. See, I release pressure with the middle finger here. How different it sounds, right, when picking it. For me, I like hybrid picking and stuff. I always find like when it comes, I'm very good at practicing it and getting it done, but when I comes to playing it live, depending on what's going on, I feel like sometimes it doesn't have enough punch. So like I find myself like I'd be playing it like just with the pick anyway, just to get that extra volume and dynamics basically. So all right, that's not essential, of course, but I really recommend learning it. That's for sure. All right, so BMX Guy, let's skip that one. Otto's got it, thank you. Yep, we've done that already. What is the most used Greek mode on math rock composition? I assume you mean from just the general modes, modes in general. I really don't know, I'm honest. A minor scale based song, most of it is made from just your basic major and minor, so that's going to be the Ionian mode, and the sixth, the mode built from the sixth. I forget the name of that one. Aeolian, is it? Yeah, that one. That's a lot of math rock basically, because I don't think math rock's at all that modal. I think maybe a band like Chon is going to be a bit more modal. But I'd have to really look into, because I don't really hear a piece of music and say, oh, this is that particular mode or something like that. So I'd have to actually research that one. But yeah, off the top of my head, I say I couldn't know. Kevin says sus. Yeah, you gotta love those sus chords. Best sus chord ever is just that sus 2 one. If we bring a bit of gain on that one, that's not gainy at all, is it? Where's my gain gone? Where's my gain? Where's it gone? Yeah. And those ones, trying to get some gain without sounding like ass. Let's kill that for a second. So your basic, I've shown you many times major and minor extended chords, right? Like that chord. So if you take this high note off, you've got that same outline of the chord there. It just always sounds better with gain on than like a whole. Doesn't have as much overload. And if you know the song Feathers by Code and Cambria, that's that chord. And there's that glorious sus2 chord I told you about. So yeah, those kind of chords, if you just subtract a few notes from them, they sound much better with gain on, is what I'm getting at. You can do the same if you have like the use this kind of shape for your major 7. So going from on the A string, A major 7 kind of little power chord kind of thing, to the 3rd and the 7th. So they sound really good. If you add like fuzz onto them, a lot of overdrive, very tense, right? And for the minor variation, let's play B minor. So B. A friend of mine, my best friend, he wrote something I've played a few times, but he uses these chords like. It just sounds nice, right? Just sounds a bit more meatier than power chords, right? Just a bit more heartfelt, emotion behind it, right? Yeah. So that's some nice tips on chords there. If you're ever interested in finding out that song, it's if you search for on like Spotify, if you search for Wolves Flying Kites, that's the name of the band, and the song's called I Can't See, and you'll hear those chords at the end of the song there, and it's just got this nice aggression to it, but it's very heartfelt. It's lovely. So check that one out. All right. Moore says, you saw Tiny Moving Parts, and Dylan is generally the nicest guy I ever met. Yeah, he seems a lovely, lovely dude. They're on tour at the moment in the UK, and Ali in our band, the bass player, his friend is their manager for the tour, so I'm following them on Instagram, so I can see what they're doing every day. I think it's John. He's from the band, I guess from Maybe She Will, if you remember that band, and I think his Instagram name is John She Will, as one whole word. Sorry. Yeah, so it's good to see what they're up to. I wish I could see them live. It would be really good fun. Nacho, Elena, it would be awesome if you could write a math-inspired heavy song. Yeah, I've done some heavier stuff. For me, it's getting gain to sound nice with this, this simulated speaker setup. The gain doesn't really work so well. Clean sounds nice. If you check out the song Out of Sight, Out of Mind by my band Mountains, that one it's a bit more heavier. So I bring the volume down, I bring the gain up, that will help, right? It's been a while since I played that, but yeah, that song's definitely more heavier, so check that one out. That's from our Out of Sight, Out of Mind EP, and the song is called Out of Sight, Out of Mind, and that's definitely more in your face kind of aggressive math rock that I wrote back then. And I really do want to write stuff like that again, because it is good fun. It's really good fun to play live too. All right, getting through these questions. I'm gonna have to get going soon, so let's do a few more. It's lovely. Thanks everyone for joining. This has been good fun. All right, Ortega's Ortega's gonna get some Delta Sleep tutorials. Wink, wink. Those like play like a certain band thing that I do. I've done 2 of them. I've done Tim Collis and I did Yvette Young, and they take a lot of research and to get it all together. Yeah, perhaps I will one day, but I need, if I can get more time to dedicate towards this channel, then I would do. At the moment I have to stick with the short and sweet, unfortunately, but that's something I'm really interested in doing, is more of those play like a certain artist videos, because I love getting geeky about everything that's going on and giving my interpretation of like perhaps how they're thinking about writing and stuff like that. So yeah, all right. Yeah, Moses. Yeah, I saw that the tour manager played the rhythm guitar for Vertebrae through the banjo solo. Yeah, no, that's cool stuff. Yeah, it's John. Yeah. Says Zeropa Baby says I want to see Battles, the show in Japan. So you're in Japan, yeah. On Tuesday, yeah, can't go for that one, yeah. It's kind of, it's not really that unrelated. No, that's good. Beck says you got me into starting guitar for the mess. Well, that's lovely to hear. Oh, that's very nice. Thanks. Glad to hear that. Yeah, I'll text us maybe do some specific song tutorials. Yeah, Sultans of Ping is such a good song. The whole Ghost Cities album is, like, I was a massive fan of Twin Galaxies, and I was like, they're making a new album. I was like, how can they like improve on this? And then like, yeah, just Ghost Cities is just another level. Like, I do really like Twin Galaxies too. Super good album. And then I just love the artwork and stuff on Ghost Cities, and you get the Ghost City, cities. I know I keep calling it cities, and yeah, posters really nice that you get in there as well. The whole theme of the album and every song flows really nicely into each other. If you haven't checked out this band before, Gulfer, this EP, What Gives, super fantastic. If you're a fan of Delta Sleep, you'll probably enjoy that one. It's got like some post-rock elements in it as well. All right, where are we getting to? Do we have music that says, do your practice routine on Twitch? Maybe we can create a community and support you. Oh, that would be lovely. Twitch can do music now. Oh, can it? Okay, that sounds good. Right. Take your time, Steve. No pressure here. You're doing a great job. Thanks. Thanks for taking. Yeah, Ghost City is better than Twin Galaxies. I like them both for different reasons, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, the newest EP. I gotta listen to it a few more times. It's great. You mean the Golfer? What gives? That I'll write it down here for you. So the band is Golfer, and what gives? Oh, and if you haven't checked out the Tokyo tour vlog that I did, we are doing an album giveaway because we got kindly gifted a lot of albums whilst we were in Tokyo, and none of us have CD players, and we already have a lot of duplicates of them. So you can get yourself 4 or 5 albums, I think it is, and also we're giving away our last Mountains tape as well, the split that we did of our latest EP and our second EP on that tape as well. So we're giving that away as well. So all you got to do is watch the video, and basically at the end I asked like, what's your favorite Japanese band and why, and just leave that down below in the comments, and I'm going to take everybody's names that left a comment like that, and I'll put it into a random generator and then choose a winner from that. It's open to worldwide as well, so as long as I can post it from South Korea. If not, then I'll be selecting another winner, of course. But yeah, just get yourself entered into that one, because I'm going to do the draw sometime next week and post that on Instagram and on YouTube, and I'll get in contact with the person who the winner is. So anyway, good luck with that, and you can win yourself some really fantastic CDs, including this is one of them. This is my copy, but we have a sealed copy, of course. So you're welcome, William. Thank you. I really like the new Delta Sleep EP, Kevin. I just listened to it before the live stream happened. I have been pretty busy weekends, so yeah. Becca, hopefully Mountains. We plan to come to the US sometime. I really want to go there. Like I said, I want to do basement shows the whole time. They look amazing, good fun. Just rock up to somebody's basement and get everybody to come around, you know. Hey, Jesus says, any scales you recommend for daily practice? Just go through your major and minor chords, but look how scales and arpeggios, especially arpeggios, interact, you know, with your chord sequences. So learn a chord, learn its arpeggio, because that's like good things for tapping, and also like, you know, running through you know, like a scale shape. Let's take all that gain off. Sorry. Let's get a pick. Thinking things like that, you see. So yeah, just arpeggios, I say. Scales are useful for, you know, writing a riff around, I'd say. That's how I approach scales. But when it comes to writing licks in between chords, it's always arpeggios. So I'll take a part of a scale, like, and work that in as well. Recently in a song called Friend, I did like... So I just... And that was the notes I thought of to using that scale. No, I didn't pick that out on purpose. It's just, you know, I know my scales quite well, but it's just what sounded good by ear, right? basically C major scale. That note really complements that interval, right? That shape. So it's basically E minor to F major, and then I just made a little riff around that basically. If I have like arpeggio idea, like in the song Appellion by my band, I put that scale running. Sounds quite nice. And then at one point I go to 7 flat 5 chord here. I just put that arpeggio running instead. So I substitute that. Just little things like that, but yeah, just using your ear and a lot. And there isn't like particular scales and stuff I'm going to say, but just whatever your chord you're playing, look at the arpeggio. And you know, like if you're playing in a particular key, you know, if you're in C major, for example. Sorry. Doesn't matter what chord you're going to be playing in that key. C, D, E, F, G. So it's like. Just use the same notes from that scale, if you get me, with as the chords change, because those notes will fit because they're in the same key, if you get me. And just use your ear to see which ones that you think fit quite nicely and quite well. All right, so I'm going to get going, as it's 12 p.m. and I got to get up in 6.5 hours for work, so and I'm really hungover, so it's all positive, right? Good way to start the week, that's for sure. So lastly, you check out the song Good. By the way, playing sometimes reminds me of kind of the Story So Far vibes. Okay, thanks. Right. Matty Fibia. I want to buy a guitar to play specifically math rock. There is no guitar specifically math rock. It's what works for you, basically. So I had a big segment about this in the last live stream. So just go and try out guitars that you think you would like and find which one works for you, in a nutshell, basically. What's your favorite riffs for fingering? That's a very vague question, but like I just said before, just using your ear and knowing what the major and minor scale is of the particular key that you're playing, and then using arpeggios that fit the chords that you're playing. These are two really good, really good tools that you can use for writing stuff. All right, so thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope I have helped out a lot of your questions today, and hope a lot of it didn't go over your head, especially the tapping part at the start. That was good fun, and let me know what you'd like to see more of in the next video. If you want to see more guitar stuff, or you just want me to answer questions. I'm never entirely sure what everybody wants. You know, everyone's got different preferences, aren't they? So I'll leave you with that. Enjoy your weeks, and hope to see you. Like I said, I'm going to do this hopefully every single Sunday from now on around a similar time. I would like to do it later, because obviously the States and stuff is still morning, but unfortunately for me it's like I said, it's 12 at night, so I'm going to get myself to sleep and get working on it next week. I'm actually doing, at the moment, I'm doing a quick announcement. I'm doing top 5 math rock intros. I'm doing it like decade by decade. I think I'll do a few videos, and I've asked Joel, the drummer from my band Mountains, if he would kindly provide the drums for these intros. So exciting video coming. We're gonna have top 5 math rock intros from like the late 90s till like mid 2000s, basically. So hopefully that one will come out quite nicely, and we can all enjoy that one. So until then, have a good week, and I will catch you next Sunday. And until then, goodbye.